machine and vehicle fleet operator of today. Before I do that, I would like to introduce you to the team. Hello, everybody, again. I'd like to introduce you to the team that will be bringing these series of webinars. Myself as the presenter, I'm Gary Briley. I've 25 years experience in vehicle and machine applications, mainly with the Michelin Tyre company. I've worked from sales management to becoming an instructor to various senior management roles around the world, working in different market segments. Barry Lowe is the CEO and lead for technology. Barry has over 30 years experience in connected technology. And a very interesting fact about Barry is one of his previous companies was sold to Lord Alan Sugar of The Apprentice fame. I'm also joined by Tat Mashonga and Ryan Hibbert. Tat Mashonga is a market specialist in our OTR and earth mover and fleet haulage segments. And Ryan does the same. He's a fleet specialist for mobile crane industry, mechanical handling, and fleet haulage. So I'd like to introduce who we are and what we do. So we are Tough Tech, and in 2017, we were formed to meet the need and demand for fleet digitalization for the modern vehicle and fleet operator. We design, manufacture, and distribute IoT systems, and this is mainly in the form of the groundbreaking Atlas product for industry. It's a telematic system that is flexible and customizable to monitor any sensor or electronics and display this information on a single dashboard and an app. If you like, it's a telematics one-stop shop, but as we come on to talk about it, it is a little bit better than that, I feel. Most of the work we do is underpinned by connected tyre pressure monitoring systems, and we'll also talk about that as we go further on. But it's worth noting that our heritage comes from working with customers who have perhaps the most challenging applications and demanding environments on the planet in which they work with. We're also one of the leads in fleet health management, again underpinned by tyre pressure monitoring, and our Atlas system operates around the globe. I'm using the Atlas system today to demonstrate fleet digitalization because we know this product, obviously, and it's going to help visualize our discussion today. Our clients finally come from all market segments, from industry, from fleet haulage. We have major OEMs we count as our clients in the mechanical handling and fleet industries, heavy haulage, industry, mining, and extraction. I'm sure somewhere along the line we'll have worked with the market segment you belong to. So why are we here today? Well, we're here to understand more about fleet digitalization. And it's a question I'm often asked as I go to see new customers that have been tasked with finding out more about fleet digitalization for their fleets. And where is a good point to start? Well, a good point to start is demystifying what we mean about fleet digitalization. What is it? Well, I usually say it refers really to technology and digital systems to improve the management and operation of fleets. Now, this can include any number of systems from tyre pressure monitoring, GPS tracking, route planning tools, electronic and electric vehicle maintenance and repair records. Ultimately, the goal of fleet transport digitalization is to increase efficiencies within the fleet. And by increasing efficiencies, we can reduce costs and we can improve the overall operation of our fleet. Now, digital technologies enables the capability for you to collect data and to analyze that data, giving you greater insight in and using that insight for decision making. Now, today I'm going to, in the first of this series, I'm going to highlight some of the more challenging operations out there, such as heavy haulage. You may know it as STGO, wide loads, heavy loads, and the mobile crane sector. But I can assure you that everything we discuss here today is actually relevant to your market. So where am I going to begin on this journey of fleet digitalisation? Now, I mentioned connected tyre pressure monitoring system, and I believe this is the place to start. Why? Because we want to achieve efficiency of operation, and we want to reduce costs, and we want to improve the overall operation of our fleet, all done safely. Now, the first thing I would ask myself with fleet digitalisation is what benefits does it bring me and my fleet? As an owner operator or a manager, I have a number of value propositions I'm looking for. And they can range from safety, fuel efficiencies, and asset management. And I include tyres in this as well, because if they are very topical at the moment, it's very difficult to influence the price of assets, such as fuel or tyres, but we can influence the way we use them. And getting the best from your assets means that you will be running an efficient operation and making those savings. Now, security, meeting legal requirements, managing resources such as people, these are all the demands placed on a modern operator. Fleet efficiency, and that is where technology can help us, not only just to meet deadlines and to meet those deadlines safely, but also to match our customers' expectations of our efficiency, being able to deliver on time, turning up to site on time as well. We'll talk about journey health today, and we'll have a brief look into journey health. And what journey health is for our mobile operator is the ability to highlight any anomalies early on that fleet. By taking corrective action, we can improve our efficiency. Now, all of this has to be encapsulated, as well as safety at the top of the list. And that has to translate into financial benefits for the company. A great return on investment should be at the forefront for the thinking when investing in fleet digitalisation. So to collect this together, what we're actually looking to do is have vehicle data and the collection of to give us a greater operational insight. It's all about decision making through information. And therefore, we're able to increase our profitability, and all done safely and efficiently. Now, I'd like to share with you a recent research that's been conducted by ING, which highlighted the importance of tyre pressures when it comes to saving fuel. So in this case, what they did is they looked at potential fuel saving for trucks towards 2030. So a good eye for the future. It looked at the ways that the modern fleet operator can save monies and improve efficiencies. Now, it examined a number of functions that could be done, such as efficient engines and improving aerodynamics, weight reduction. Now, not all of this is possible, but if it is possible, it does come with a substantial bill. However, being able to influence tyre pressure, controlling tyre pressure, for example, will be one of the greatest factors that will influence the way we use fuel. And as you can see, it's top of the list there. Now, I'd also like to point out that not only digitalization is giving us great savings, the potential for great savings by monitoring the different functions, what it can also do, as I mentioned, is lead to matching our customer expectations. Now, I'm going to highlight Jenny Seville's services here. Jenny Seville's services are a tyre service provider in the earth mover, mining, and heavy extraction industries. They're based in France. A good point is they're actually based on the doorstep of the Michelin tyre company, yet they use the Atlas system for their business model. And why do they use it? They operate a very successful lease hire model throughout France. Hundreds of customers use this model. And a recent conversation with the managing director, he told me that over 70% of their tyre problems were detected and actioned early as a result of the Atlas and fleet digitalization. And it's this early intervention which has allowed them to maintain efficiencies for the customers. Another good example is while I was in a meeting with the company, and it was an early morning meeting, the operator of the system told me that he was able to intervene in a loading shovel puncture before the operator turned up on site, and he was able to react to this. And therefore, when the operator, unbeknown to them, turned up on site, the puncture had been fixed thanks to this proactive maintenance of fleet digitalization. The puncture had been fixed, and the operator was able to do a full day's duty, maintaining efficiencies. Now, I mentioned that we're going to highlight some of the challenges faced by our heavy haulage mobile crane operators. And I'm going to use, for example, in this case, a recent test case that some of you may have seen on the LinkedIn platform. But what are the challenges? Well, let me first of all show you the bottom illustration. There are lots of tyres, whether that be for SPMT, a modular setup, or in this case, in our example that we used, a number of tyres and distance between axles. So the wheelbase was over 55 meters. And one of the challenges when transporting heavy loads is it's very difficult to identify which tyre has a problem, specifically in the middle of a mobile operation. So fleet digitalization gives you access to that information. And the Atlas unit in particular, we believe was the first one ever, a connected system to monitor over 55 meters in wheelbase. We do have another challenge though, and that is the number of tyres, because we've yet to find an operator that is able to beat the Atlas system. Most systems historically, whether connected or whether a standalone system that's not connected, have had limitations of the number of tyres that can monitor. A good thing about Atlas is we've not found that limitation yet. So if you're an operator with multi-modular SPMTs, etc., then please do give us a call. We'd love to find out. So we've looked at the benefits of fleet digitalization. We've had an introduction into what fleet digitalization is and the benefits that it brings, the value proposition. We've had a look at some of the challenges you yourself as a modern operator may face. One of those challenges is the components that make up the digitalization of the fleet. Now, I've been very fortunate enough to talk to many customers, and in the early days of connected tyre pressure monitoring systems, for example, there was an awful lot of components, and an awful lot of components are still used in the process of tyre pressure monitoring. So we ourselves set out to reduce those number of components, make it simple to install. So where do we start on that journey? For example, for tyre pressure monitoring in our fleet digitalisation. We'll start at the beginning, which involves sensors. And in this case, I'm going to show you and illustrate the tyre pressure monitoring sensor. Now, this is an on-valve sensor, and there are other sensors available in the market which perhaps will go inside the tyre. Now, both have a number of benefits, but in my experience working within the industry, I find that on-valve sensors are by far the most pragmatic sensor to use. And those sensors come in standard and large bore. But why do I feel it's pragmatic? Well, I've taken tyre pressure monitoring systems to earth mover customers, for example, and mobile crane customers, and the thought of an operator having to remove 2,749 earth mover tyres just to fit the sensor inside fill the operator with dread. So the on-valve system is a very simple way to access the data of tyre pressure monitoring. There's no need to remove that tyre. Now, once we generated the data from the sensor, we then have to send that data somewhere. It has to be processed somewhere. Now, everybody will be familiar with the term modem, etc., or gateway, and all a gateway is a data concentrator. It's concentrated all the data, it's collecting all the data from our sensors on the machine or the vehicle. Now, what makes Atlas unique in the world of fleet digitalisation is the size and capability of the data concentrator. It's a very flexible hardware. It has multiple input and output capability and cellular, GPS, Bluetooth, and other functions it has on board. One of the main advances in fleet digitalisation is being able to connect for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even when the machine or the vehicle is unpowered. And that includes trailers as well. It's not connected to the power. I spoke to a colleague the other day and I mentioned that mobile phones, for example, are connected. However, they don't operate on a shift basis. They operate 24 hours, 7 days a week. Why? Because it has an independent power source, in this case, the battery. Now, the gateway, the Atlas gateway, has a battery-backed system. So whilst the operator can power down the machine or the vehicle, it also has the capability to give that data inside for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And that's very important. So we've looked at gathering the data. We've started to collect the data. The most common question I'm asked out there is, how easy is it to fit a fleet digitalisation system? I can only speak from the Atlas. It's tailor-made for it to be easy to fit. And why do we do? Why can we confidently say this? Our customers, and regardless in today's society, generations are embracing, they've adopted technology, they're embracing technology. And by using mobile apps, which everybody does on a day-to-day basis, it's easy to set up this system. It's easy to configure. And what is probably the most helpful part of this installation with the mobile app is you're able to diagnose any problems, particularly on the installation setup. So traditionally, some connected systems, you've connected it, you've sighted the antenna and walked away and then had to come back to the machine or the vehicle in order to make sure that a signal was being received properly. Fleet digitalisation, utilising mobile app technology, allows you to do that before you move away from the vehicle or the machine. So the system itself is working for you and understanding and giving you the diagnostic material that you need for a successful and speedy installation. Now, I would say an installation would normally take you about 30 to 60 minutes, and I'm including here mobile cranes, I'm including longer wheelbases, etc. So, and there's a wealth of support that comes with that. But 30 to 60 minutes is what I would imagine you would take, or what I know you would take to fit and install on a vehicle or machine. Allow me to show you now and visualize how that installation process looks. And it's very simple. We've reduced the number of components as part of that digitalization, that first step for you to take. We have the Atlas data concentrator here, and along with power leads, the sensors, in this particular case cited on the valve, along with this, there's only the power lead, the antennas that are necessary. And we can visualize the information. I'll come to talk about that. But you can see the process is very easy to install. And as I always feel in my time, you can never have enough support for when installing these systems. So we have some very simple instructions to follow for that to be fitted. There's a website that I'll detail in a moment that will assist you and have all the information needed. But more importantly, here at Tutec, where we actually manufacture, we put our heart and soul into the product, we give you the full support necessary for a successful installation and the operation. I think one of the other things when we were formed as a company is we wanted to empower the operator with the decision-making process. And at no point should the operator, fleet manager, the owner, etc., be influenced in any way whilst undertaking the use of their technology. So we have made the fleet digitalization process easy by saying any tyre, any machine, any vehicle, any brand, any market that you operate in, the decision-making process is yours. And therefore, we will give you fleet digitalization that allows you, without influence, to make decision-making decisions, if you like. So total tyre independence in this case. So we've collected the data, we've installed it and started to collect the data. Now we need to view that data, we need to visualize it, we need to consume that data insight. And we do that in two ways. The first is through a web application, a dashboard. Now, many of my customers that I deal with have over 100 machines. Some customers have 20, 50 machines or vehicles. And so it's important for them to easily consume the data insight. Our dashboard gives by exception reporting, and this has a number of benefits for the customer. Because the alerts that occur through any instances are triaged. That's very important in the process because that influences the decision making of the customer or the operator. And why do I say that? Because the system itself is customizable, and all fleet digitalization should be able to have this ability to customize alerts. Now, in this case, a red alert would obviously be an immediate attention need. An amber alert, for example, as part of the triage, allows you to intervene when you feel it would be necessary to intervene. So, for example, if you had 10% tyre under inflation, and many customers I see set, I'm pleased to say, set 10% under inflation as one of the alert parameters. And just as an aside to that, tyre companies have been evangelical over the last 30 years, telling us that 1% of fuel is consumed as an extra if the tyre is 10% underinflated, and the overall tyre life is affected too. So 10% as an alert, it's highlighted, and you could even go beyond that for your second, for example, to say, okay, at 20%, I want a red alert, because then I feel that then I would start to influence the outcome of any tyre incident even further. So every vehicle and every tyre has to have the information that you can drill down into. So you make the process simple by a simple dashboard drilling down into the behaviour of that tyre. And the other slides that I've put to illustrate this show you the vehicle journey, which we will cover in another webinar. We can have the ability now through fleet digitalisation to monitor the health of the transport or the mobile machine in its daily duties. The reporting function as well is very important, and we put that in the Atlas system, for example, because as a reporting function, that is very important, and I'll come on to highlight that in a moment. So the other way we consume that data insight is to have a smart mobile application. It's the natural choice to do. We use apps now in our daily lives. What will the app do? Well, the app will do the same functionality, if you like, of the website. So you should be consuming data insight on this app, but also it allows things like the ability to locate where the machine, the diagnostics, am I receiving good signal towards my sensors? It also helps in the fact that during our lives, we're not always at a desk. So the mobile phone, for example, you can receive detailed alerts that are pushed through the notification center on your smartphone. There's even a capability for it to come over to your watch as well. So if you own a smartwatch, you can also get that information. Why is that important? Well, it allows you to take immediate and corrective action once you receive these alerts. Information is only as good as the people that receive it. And those people have to be the right people. Under older connected systems, for example, there was a selection process in order for you to involve people. Obviously, that would involve more costs, etc., reporting functions as well. Fleet digitalisation should take all of that away from you. It should allow you to include as many participants in the fleet safety and efficient operations as possible. So let me illustrate this by saying, first of all, our driver operator. I truly believe that all of us want our drivers and operators to go home to their families safely at the end of the day. So they're a focal point for fleet digitalisation in the fact that they're in the front line of the safety operation. But we're all involved in certain aspects of safety. But it doesn't just end with the driver. The fleet manager, the operator, is there to drive efficiencies safely. By consuming the data insight and making the decisions based on that data insight, they are able to operate an efficient fleet. It's also worth noting as well, for example, for our mobile crane operators out there, our heavy load specialists out there, many of which use support vehicles. And it's important that those support vehicles get all this information and alerts, etc. An extra pair of eyes and ears, if you like, whilst conducting your operation. So it's important they're involved in the process, and the data insight and alerts are available to them should you choose. Now, the other beauty of fleet digitalisation is that it isn't a hindrance to support services that you may have. In fact, it is incredibly helpful, and I'll illustrate my point. Tyre service providers currently have difficulty in recruiting trained personnel. And so they're crucially managing their resource, in this case, people, more efficiently. And there's a way you can help in that process. You can partner with them to share the data insight that's coming off. I have a customer in Canada, as I have, that runs a 24-hour a day, 5 days a week, operation. And at the weekend, they use that time for maintenance. Now, the customer actually prints off when the tyre temperature is cold in the middle of a Saturday morning, when the tyre temperature is cold and at its correct pressure reading, it gives that report to the tyre service provider, and they can concentrate their resources on efficiently attending to those problems that need attending to. So maintenance support is just one element of the benefits of including data insight for everybody. But of course, we can go one step further, and we do here at Tech, for example, we give support on the Atlas to the customer. And that support is in the form of being able to monitor the health of the tyres, in this case, on a clock basis. So 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, we'll be able to monitor those vehicles. Not only monitor, but also do data analytics, which we also share with our customers as well. Data analytics are a great thing. Tyre behavior, the way to influence tyre life, etc. We can take those from the data insight that's produced on the reports. But I mentioned at the top that fleet digitalisation encompasses many sensors and many functionalities. And we've started this webinar with tyre pressure monitoring system because, if you like, it's the low-hanging fruit for efficiencies, for savings, and also for future legislative sort of commitments that has to be made by the operator. Now, I've also mentioned it's battery backed. It is truly a connected system and fleet digitalisation when it is able to function around the clock. And those are the functionalities I've mentioned, and we include those in the capabilities of the Atlas system. Tracking, security, so you can house, for example, the security and tracking within Atlas. It has this capability so that you don't have to buy another system in order to have tracking and security on your fleet. Axle load monitoring, engine monitoring. We've even connected now a wheel loss system and a hub brake and temperature system. Very useful for our customers that operate trailers. One of the reasons behind in 2008, passenger car vehicles having to be legislated, obviously through safety, to adopt tyre pressure monitoring systems was because the technology was available. But it was felt back then that the technology wasn't available to cope with the demands and challenges of a modern commercial fleet. So I'm pleased to say, and I'm illustrating the Atlas here, that technology is now available. And through fleet digitalisation, we can achieve a very seamless and a very elegant, if you like, drop and hook function. And by that, I mean that you can couple and uncouple your trailer and still have tyre pressure monitoring on both modules. So whether that be a tractor unit or a trailer, when both are unpowered, you can still have tyre pressure monitoring. Fleet digitalisation now has moved to a point where customers should be demanding fast install, easy install, and a user-friendly system. And as I mentioned, being able to consume the data inside through a mobile application and a web application is a very natural thing now for the operator and their staff. Now, for those further interested in more of the technology on our website and in conversation with us, we can also talk to you about multiple sensor inputs, which is what I started talking about at the top of the webinar, whereby multiple sensors can be onboarded onto the Atlas unit, but other capabilities such as Bluetooth, CAN bus, etc., all are available in a modern fleet digitalization process. It's very timely as I come to near the end of the webinar now to talk about the Atlas website. Now, the Atlas website, and this is probably because of our heritage, is not full of fancy marketing material. You'll not see glamorous people with background shots of the ocean. What you'll get on our website is real insight into both the technology, how to fit, and how to use the technology to maintain and get even greater efficiencies and safeties. It covers all market segments, and from a technical point of view, it's a dream. You're able to access data sheets, you're able to see how everything's put together, the components used, and I would urge you to go onto the website. We update it regularly with good case studies, and there's a lot more to come for the modern operator who's embracing fleet digitalization. So please do give us a visit there. So before we set up the webinar, we asked for some questions, and very kindly you sent some questions in that the guys behind the scenes here have started to put up. So we've had some questions and answers. If you've got any questions, please do use the live feed or use them through our website or contact me directly. I'd be pleased to chat to you about this subject and some of my colleagues as well. So please do email me. So I believe, let's have a look at the first question now. So is it possible to transfer the system from one vehicle or machine or a mobile crane to another if I change my vehicle? Absolutely, yes. That's what a modern fleet digitalization process should be. You've seen there's a reduced number of components now for the modern operator. So absolutely, yes, you can disassemble and refit very easily. There are many connected TPMS solutions on the market. What sets your system apart? I like that question. I'm always very pleased to receive that question. So what I would say firstly, I've used the Atlas system to illustrate fleet digitalization, but the Atlas system is really at the forefront of the cutting edge technology available to the fleet now. So some of the functionality I've mentioned there, and that functionality includes a 24/7 day-week operation. So it's battery backed. So you're able to take a full data insight around the clock. That's just one of many functionalities. Elegant drop and hook. The fact that you can have connected wheel loss as well as tire pressure monitoring. You can have CAN bus data in the box, the size of your phone. It's really good technology to have on board. If my sensors are taken off the vehicle, I presume in this case it's the tire pressure monitoring sensors, can I still track or locate the vehicle? Absolutely, of course you can. The sensors I talked about are collecting data from the tire. So they're not part of the GPS system, they're not part of the tracking system, which is housed and locator, which is housed within the data concentrator. So yes, if the vehicle or machine was stolen and the sensors were taken off, as long as you still had the data concentrator, in this case the Atlas data concentrator, even if the vehicle was unpowered and isolated, you would still be able to locate it. What happens if I go into an area with no connection? Do I still get alerts? Okay, that's a very good question because um, we talk about fleet digitalization and connectivity. And all this is underpinned by the fact that you're able to get connectivity. Um, I will assure you that 99.99% of our operations run 24 hours with connectivity. You don't lose that data. That data is still stored within the data concentrator and then becomes available for reporting functions once you get into a connected area. However, the question should be is, should my operator or driver, in this case, should they be able to receive alerts? And the answer is yes. So even without connectivity, there is a backup way to do that. And we talk to our customers and show them how to do that. So the main function of getting an alert for safety, the driver will get. I'll also mention two good examples. I alluded to the French example, whereby our customer GCS have hundreds of mining and heavy industrial sites throughout France, and they have continuous feed even in remote areas. And I completed a customer proof of concept and sale last year in Africa, in quite a remote part of Guinea. And I was able to, we were as a team able to get connectivity through a local provider. So the beauty of Atlas, for example, is it's able to feed off the best connectivity. Can I integrate your TPMS system, the Atlas connected system, with my fleet management system? Oh, yes, because this is what fleet digitalization should do. It should provide you with the functionality to get those efficiencies, but it should also recognize you may have an existing telematics or back office system. How do I onboard that? Well, it's very simple. I'll use the analogy of a connected electronic handshake or an API into the server side. So, absolutely, that's what fleet digitalization should do, and particularly the Atlas system connects with either what you have now or provide an original function for you. You mentioned 10% loss of pressure. You use 1% more fuel. I did, yes. So this must have just come in. When does your system start sending alerts? Well, that's a really good question to ask, because also this system, as I mentioned, is customizable. So you can choose when to receive the alerts. No two operations are the same, and you should be able to do this very, very easily. And the mobile app allows you to make any adjustments or changes, particularly in the alert settings. Very, very simple. There's no need to go to a machine, no need to go back to the computer. You can do it straight from the app. And that can be a secure function. So you as the operator and the fleet maintenance manager, for example, may have that control and not delegate it to anybody else. I'll give you a good example of that. Recently, one of my customers actually transfers earth moving machines around the UK here. The functionality for the alerts has to be that once it moved from a limestone setting to a sand setting, then obviously there's a correlation between pressures and alerts. So the customer finds it very useful to just have the functionality on the app to do that. So you decide, you have the control, you decide when you want the alerts. Well, I believe that's it. And so thanks for joining me on this first session. We don't have to stop here. You can email me with any questions. I'll be delighted to hear from you. No question is too small or too big. No fleet is too small or too big to answer the questions. This is the first in a series. I hope you enjoyed your introduction to fleet digitalization, and demystifying what fleet digitalisation involves. And finally, we've gone through that process. We've understood the terminology, we've seen the benefits, we've seen how it fits together, we've visualized that. So we've understood that process, and hopefully by adopting tyre pressure monitoring system as part of the first step on the journey to fleet digitalisation, you'll start to see the greater return of investment, you'll start to promote fleet efficiencies, increase profitability, all whilst doing so safely. Thanks for your participation today, and I look forward to meeting with you soon.